Ever wondered how to cook the perfect Wagyu steak at home? Welcome to a journey into the art of cooking Wagyu, where we'll unveil the secrets behind preparing this revered cut of meat. Wagyu beef, hailing from Japan, is a culinary delight that has won the hearts of meat enthusiasts around the globe. What sets it apart? It's all in the marbling. Wagyu boasts an extraordinary level of marble-like fatty streaks that melt during cooking, imparting a succulent, rich flavor that's truly unparalleled. This beef is not just a meal, it's an experience, a celebration of taste that transforms your home kitchen into a gourmet haven. Today, we're going to delve into the nuances of preparing Wagyu, exploring how to bring out its distinct characteristics and create a dish that's nothing short of a gastronomic masterpiece. So, are you ready to create culinary magic with the king of all steaks? Before we dive into the cooking process, let's spend a moment understanding your steak. The world of Wagyu beef is as vast as it is delicious. The cut of Wagyu you choose can significantly influence the flavor and texture of your meal. Let's explore some of the most popular cuts and their unique attributes. First, we have the ribeye, a prime cut known for its marbling and robust flavor. This cut is a favorite among steak enthusiasts for its tender texture and rich, beefy taste. Next is the sirloin, a leaner cut that offers a balance of tenderness and flavor. Sirloin steaks are versatile and can be cooked in a variety of ways, making them a popular choice for many. Then there's the filet mignon, a cut from the smaller end of the tenderloin. It's renowned for its buttery texture and subtle flavor. This cut is perfect for those who prefer a leaner, less fatty steak. And finally, we have the strip steak, a cut known for its tenderness and rich flavor similar to the ribeye, but with less marbling. Now let's talk about the grading system of Wagyu beef. The quality of Wagyu is graded based on several factors including marbling, color of meat, firmness and texture, and the color and quality of fat. Marbling, or the intramuscular fat, is a key factor in Wagyu grading. The more marbling, the higher the grade, and the better the flavor and tenderness of the beef. When buying Wagyu, look for a high degree of marbling, a bright cherry red color to the meat, and a creamy white fat. The meat should be firm to the touch, and the fat should have a smooth and velvety texture. Remember, each cut and grade offers a different experience, so take the time to explore and find what suits your palate best. Remember, knowledge is power, and knowing your steak is the first step towards a perfect meal. Now that you've got your perfect cut, it's time for some prep work. You see, the key to a perfect Wagyu steak begins long before it hits the pan. It starts with the delicate art of preparation. First things first, you've got to let your steak breathe. That means allowing it to come up to room temperature before cooking. Why, you might ask? Well, think of your steak as a sprinter. Just as a sprinter wouldn't start a race without a proper warm-up, your steak shouldn't hit the pan cold. A steak at room temperature will cook more evenly, ensuring that perfect medium rare we're all dreaming of. Now, let's talk seasoning. When it comes to Wagyu, less is more. This is not the time for elaborate spice rubs or marinades. You've invested in a high-quality piece of meat, and you want those natural flavors to be the star of the show. So, what's the ideal seasoning for Wagyu? It's simple. Good quality sea salt and freshly ground black pepper. That's it. Salt is a flavor enhancer, and it's going to make that rich buttery taste of the Wagyu sing. Pepper adds just a hint of spice without overshadowing the meat's natural flavor. But remember, timing is everything. Season your steak just before it goes into the pan. This will prevent the salt from drawing out the juices and keep your steak moist and flavorful. And if you're feeling adventurous, consider adding a sprig of fresh rosemary or thyme to your pan while the steak cooks. These herbs can complement the beef's flavor without overpowering it. So there you have it, the secret to preparing your Wagyu steak. Bring it to room temperature, season simply and at the right time, and let the beef's natural flavors take center stage. With your steak prepped, you're all set to start cooking. Exciting, isn't it? The wait is over, and it's finally time to cook your Wagyu steak. Now, the stage is set. You've got your perfectly prepped Wagyu, and it's time to bring the heat. First, let's talk about the pan. You want to go for a heavy-bottomed skillet, ideally cast iron, to ensure even heat distribution. Remember, this is not a race. We're not looking for a smoking hot pan, we're aiming for a steady medium-high heat. Once the pan is heated, add in a small amount of high smoke point oil, just enough to lightly coat the bottom. You might be wondering why we're not using butter at this stage. Butter has a lower smoke point, which means it can burn quickly, imparting a bitter taste to your steak. We'll save the butter for later, I promise. Now it's showtime. Place your steak in the pan, laying it away from you to avoid any potential oil splatters. Listen to that sizzle. That's the sound of a beautiful sear forming. Here's a pro tip. Don't overcrowd the pan. Overcrowding leads to steaming rather than searing, and we don't want that. If you're cooking more than one steak, cook them in separate pans or in batches. Now let's talk about flipping. There's a common myth that you should only flip your steak once. But the truth is, flipping your steak every minute or so can actually promote a more evenly cooked steak. So, don't be shy, flip that steak. Once your steak is beautifully seared on both sides, it's time to introduce some flavor friends. Add a generous knob of butter, some fresh herbs like thyme or rosemary, and a couple of cloves of garlic to the pan. As the butter melts, it will infuse with the flavors of the herbs and garlic, creating a delicious basting liquid. Tilt the pan slightly and using a spoon, continuously baste your steak with this flavorful butter. This will not only enhance the flavor, but also help to cook the steak evenly. Now, on to doneness. Whether you like your steak rare, medium, or well done, the key is to use a meat thermometer. Aim for 125 degrees Fahrenheit for rare, 135 for medium rare, 145 for medium, 155 for medium well, and 165 for well done. Remember, the steak will continue to cook even after it's removed from the pan, so aim for a few degrees lower than your desired final temperature. As you're cooking, remember to be patient. Cooking is a journey, not a destination. It's about enjoying the process, not just the final product. So, take your time, bask in the sizzle and the aroma, and savor every moment. You're doing great! Just a little more patience and your perfect Wagyu steak will be ready. Congratulations on cooking your Wagyu steak, but wait, we're not done yet. We've seared our steak to perfection, but before we dig in, it's crucial to understand the importance of resting your steak. Much like a marathon runner needing a cool-down period, your steak also needs a moment to relax. This resting period allows the juices that have been driven to the center of the steak during cooking to redistribute throughout the meat. Skipping this step could mean losing those precious, flavorful juices onto your cutting board, and we certainly don't want that. Now, how long should you rest your steak? A good rule of thumb is to let it rest for approximately half the time it was cooked. So, if your steak was cooked for 8 minutes, let it rest for 4. During this time, your steak will continue to cook slightly, absorbing back those juices, and ensuring your steak is moist and flavorful from edge to edge. While your steak is resting, let's talk about serving. For a Wagyu steak, presentation is just as important as preparation. Consider serving it on a warm plate. This helps to maintain the steak's temperature. Also, be mindful of what you're serving your steak with. Keep side dishes simple, allowing the Wagyu to be the star of the plate. Now, when it comes to slicing your steak, there's a method to the madness. Always slice against the grain. This shortens the muscle fibers and makes the steak easier to chew, enhancing the melt-in-your-mouth experience that Wagyu is famous for. Finally, remember to season your steak once more lightly before serving. A pinch of salt can make all the difference, elevating the rich, buttery flavor of the Wagyu. And there you have it, a perfectly cooked Wagyu steak right in your home. Enjoy your meal and remember, practice makes perfect.